So Barcelona beat Real Madrid once again and win the La Liga title. They literally won the La Liga title on Real Madrid's head at the Camp Nou. They beat Real Madrid, and by doing that, they secured the title, lifted it there and then. And wow. This is a dark day for Real Madrid. In the week leading up to the game, we all know about, the in-house fighting going on between Real Madrid. Young players aren't happy with the older players. The younger players feel like the older players are sort of taking advantage of them, sort of bullying them in a way. Rudiger apparently slapped Carreras in training. Obviously, the infamous Tchouaméni-Valverde fight where Tchouaméni was said to give Valverde some sort of brain damage, sending him to the hospital. But yeah, it's been a bad week for Real Madrid, and it's been a poor season for Real Madrid as well. Back-to-back years for Real Madrid going trophyless, you know what I'm saying? They've had many injuries, to be fair to them. Rodrigo, he tore his ACL, unfortunately. Mbappe was out, along with many others. Jude has missed some time this year. Alaba, he has missed some time. He's always been injured. Trent's been in and out the lineup. Carvajal's been injured. It's just been a poor season for Real Madrid. And yeah, the culmination of it has just ended up with them losing at the Camp Nou and having to watch Barca lift the La Liga title. Having to watch Barca go back-to-back and lift the La Liga title at the Camp Nou. And to be fair, when we talk about the game, it was dominance from Barca. From minute one, Barcelona dominated. Barcelona, they look like a well-oiled machine, with Hansi Flick at the helm. I know with Hansi Flick, that high line, he must give Barcelona fans high blood pressure, because even me, when I watch them play, I get high blood pressure from watching this team play. You know what I'm saying? It's just all-out football, that high line. Teams who play against Barcelona, they always have a chance. But that's Hansi Flick's way, and he's been successful in his 2 full seasons at Barca. He's been successful with it. I'm pretty sure he's won about, what is it 5 trophies in 2 seasons? So you can't really complain. You can't really say that it doesn't work. It doesn't win him games. It doesn't win him trophies. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was dominance from Barca from minute 1 to minute 90. I don't think Real Madrid even had an opportunity. Like I said, Barcelona, they're a well-oiled machine. Everybody knows their roles perfectly to a T. Even if players play out of position, like Fermin Lopez. Normally we recognize Fermin Lopez as, a player who plays inside in that midfield, mainly in that number 10. But he's been playing out wide for the last few games, and he just knows his role effectively, does his job so well. Rashford, he went from the left to the right today. We'll go on to Marcus Rashford in a minute. He did his job perfectly. No matter who it is, whether it's Olmo in the 10, whether it's Pedri and Marc Bernal, Pedri and Casado, whether it's Frenkie de Jong, everybody sort of knows their roles, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's Balde or Cancelo at fullback, whether it's Koundé at right back. Even when they bring on the youngsters from La Masia, Barcelona just look like a well-oiled machine, you know what I'm saying? It's a different variation to what we see from Barca sides in the past, but it's still, a great style of football. Everybody's on board, everybody is on the same page, you know what I'm saying? Lamine Yamal goes down, there's always somebody else. There's Rooney Badaji to come in. Lewandowski goes out, Ferran Torres is always there as a serviceable player, you know what I'm saying? He gets a lot of stick from Barcelona fans, but I always feel like he's serviceable enough. You give Ferran Torres like a run of 10 games, in my opinion. Let's say where Lewandowski's out, he's scoring at least 5 or 6 goals in that 10-game run, you know what I'm saying? He's being serviceable. He can hold the ball up well. I watched him as a Man City fan. He's very good. Even when he comes off the bench, he can play. He's solid, very solid technically. He's willing to run channels, and he can finish. He does miss the odd chance here and there. Trust me, I know, but he is very solid. If Rafinha's not there, they have Rashford, you know what I'm saying? This is just a very well-drilled Barca side. Real Madrid, on the other hand, they just look like a team of individuals. Like I've said before with Real Madrid, it's almost just like pulling up to a showcase game. If you ever played football, and you play for a showcase team, you just pull up to a showcase team. Nobody knows each other. Maybe 2 players out of the whole 20-man squad know each other. But apart from that, you just go out and then you play. That's what Real Madrid look like. Even the formation, you don't know. Certain guys don't know when to do certain things. I see Bellingham. Bellingham tries to press, but then none of his teammates are pressing him. So Barca just started to play around him. Some guys are doing the high press. Some guys are sitting back doing the low block. Some guys are in the mid block. It just doesn't really look, very cohesive for Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? It's very much individual heavy. Like even when you watch them. Even in the past, to be fair, in the past though, they did get away with it because they did have guys like Toni Kroos and Luka Modric sort of controlling it in that midfield. And then the attackers, you know, that individual brilliance, the Vinicius individual brilliance, the Benzema individual brilliance of Valverde. That's what they'll rely on. But you see now, yeah, now they just don't have that sort of control in midfield. They struggle to control games. And now, even when they try to rely on the individual brilliance, it just doesn't come off because let's say a Vinicius Junior's out of form or Rodrigo and Mbappe aren't there, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are the goals going to come from? Rarely with Real Madrid, it's rarely, you know, a cohesive team goal. It's always individual brilliance. They sort of wait for Bellingham to do something, wait for Mbappe when he's fit to do something, wait for Vinicius. It's just not very cohesive. And like I said, they had Rodrigo and Mbappe out today, and nothing really came. You know, Vinicius tried, but ultimately there was no support. The one big chance Real Madrid have fell to Gonzalo Garcia. The ball came over the top. He takes a great touch. He's under pressure by both Barcelona defenders, but ultimately he puts it wide. You know what I'm saying? He puts it wide into the side net. And for Real Madrid, that was about it, to be honest. But when we move to the Barca side, yo, they start off the game, the better team, and then they get the free kick. You know, Rashford, he puts it down on the spot. You know what I'm saying? In that position with a right footer who's taking the free kick from the right, I'm expecting him to go to Courtois' left. You know what I'm saying? Try to curl it around the wall. But he does the exact opposite. He goes Courtois' side and he sticks it in the absolute bins. You know what I'm saying? Absolute bins. What a goal from Marcus Rashford. Hopefully for his sake, for his career, Barcelona do sign him to a permanent. I personally think he's done enough to, you know, warrant them signing him back. I think they do want him back as well, but it's just a matter, you know, Barcelona, the financial situation. But he's definitely played to a standard for me where he deserves, whatever, how many years they give him, whether it's a 3-year, 4-year deal, he's definitely earned his place in the Barcelona team. Whether it's he starts games like he did today or when Rafinha and Yamal are fit, they can, you know, he can come off the bench, be a real impact player. I think he's had great moments as a Barcelona player. I think they really like him there as well, you know what I'm saying? If you watch the training videos, you can see that, you know, he's really been embraced by the squad. So I'm happy for Rashford, you know what I'm saying? Happy for Rashford because he's good enough to play at this level, always has been good enough to play at this level. But at Man United, it was just a case of, it's always been up here with Rashford, you know what I'm saying, the mentality. But I feel like he's around, you know, he's around winners now, you know what I'm saying? He's around winners, he's around a good structure. The coach as well, coaching has a big part to playing with it as well. But yeah, I think Rashford is a good fit for Barcelona and he absolutely smacked that into the top bin. So yeah, that was Barcelona 1-0. And then the second goal, hey man, Rashford's goal was quality. Yo, the skill from Dani Olmo on that second goal. Another Barcelona player who gets a bit of criticism from the fans, you know, but even him, Dani Olmo, I've always said, in and around the box when it comes to Dani Olmo, whether it's finding a yard to get a shot on the edge of the box, or whether it's, you know, winning a penalty, winning a free kick on the edge of the box, whether it's playing a little 1-2 and then assisting someone in and around the box, he's so good at that. He's so sharp in and around the box. I think he's such an asset for Barcelona. You know, fans get onto him maybe for his all-round play, you know, further away from the box, but I feel like in and around the box, he's such an asset for Barcelona. I don't understand how many times I've seen this guy, you know, win free kicks on the edge for Barca, win penalties for Barca. He won the pen at Newcastle where Lamine Yamal stuck it away and then they ultimately played the second leg and won 7-2. But he won that penalty, you know what I'm saying? There's been times where, you know, they've been down in games and then he just shifted and he shot, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he scored a goal, you know, a goal similar to the ilk I'm talking about against Inter Milan in that crazy tie as well to get Barcelona back into the game. So Dani Olmo, but yeah, the ball gets played into Dani Olmo and he just does a little Cruyff flick into the path of Ferran Torres. Great vision, you know what I'm saying? The ball's coming over his head and he just does a little Cruyff just to flick it onto Ferran Torres. Ferran takes a touch and then sticks it in. You know, Courtois no chance when the ball's at such a close angle like that. All Ferran had to do was just hit it hard, hit it true into the top corner. Courtois had no chance, and that was 2-0 for Barcelona, you know what I'm saying? 2-0, and pretty much the rest of the game, these guys were cruising, you know what I'm saying? Rafinha came on, it was good to see him back. Lewandowski came on, they both had chances. Rafinha had a chance, Lewandowski had a chance, but apart from that, Real Madrid didn't really offer anything. Pedri got man of the match, rightly so, controlled, just absolutely bossed it, you know what I'm saying? Just absolutely bossed the game. And yeah, Barcelona, hey man, Barcelona go back to back, I'm pretty sure for the first time since what? 17, 18, 18, 19, back when they had Suarez and Messi. So yeah, Barcelona go back to back. They won the Super Copa de España early on in the season by beating Real Madrid. What was it, 3-2 or 3-1 by beating Real Madrid? I remember Rafinha came on and scored 2 goals. It was 3-2, but yeah, man, they just look light years ahead of Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? They just look light years ahead of Real Madrid. Like I said, this reminds me of, that little period before Jose Mourinho came. I think the first 2 years under Pep, Barcelona just looks so much better than Real Madrid. Then Mourinho, tried to come in, got Real Madrid a little bit closer, but it feels like this sort of feels like, 10, 11 all over again. We're in that stage, that 08, 09, 9, 10, 10, 11 stage. It feels like we're in that stage. Obviously, this Barca side haven't been able to win the Champions League. That's one thing that, Pep managed to do twice. This Barca side haven't won the Champions League, but in terms of just the gap between them and Real Madrid right now, it looks like a far gap, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's all down to, Kylian Mbappe, as people are trying to say. I think the Mbappe situation is very reminiscent, I feel like, to maybe when Ronaldo first went to Real Madrid. Because you need to think about when Ronaldo first went to Real Madrid, first 2 years, Real Madrid were the less superior side. Barcelona were the superior side when Ronaldo first came to Real Madrid as the best player in the world. Mbappe came, as the label, as the argument for the best player in the world. CR7 came to Real Madrid as an argument for the best player in the world alongside Messi. And they struggled at first, you know what I'm saying? Because maybe perhaps Ronaldo didn't have the team around him until Mourinho came. And I feel like that's the same with Mbappe. I feel like Mbappe simply just doesn't have the team around him anymore. You know what I'm saying? The Toni Kroos is gone. Luka Modric is gone. They're still trying to find out the balance between him and Vinicius and Bellingham. They're still trying to find out that balance. Sort of like when Ronaldo is very reminiscent. Think about it. Sort of when Ronaldo came to Real Madrid, they needed a couple of years to find out the balance between, Ronaldo, Benzema, Kaká, Higuain, and then they signed Di Maria and Ozil. They needed time to find that balance until they could actually be competitive with Barcelona. Then they were competitive. Then they won that Copa del Rey in 2011. Then they went on to win the league in 11-12. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a bit of time. I don't think, it's all Mbappe's fault. I just feel like this squad has been poorly constructed, in my opinion. They did get a lot of players on a free transfer, which looks like, bargains at the time, but it just looks like Rudiger's legs are sort of going now. Eder Militao, unfortunately, he's always injured. And apart from them, David Alaba, another one on a free, felt like very, very good business at the time, but it feels like he's aging. Him and Rudiger, great business at the time, but they're aging, you know what I'm saying? Trent has unfortunately suffered with injuries. The other players that they signed haven't really hit the ground running, you know what I'm saying? Guys like the centre-back Asensio, Carreras, their right winger, I always struggle to say his name, wasn't it? I'm not even going to say his name, but the Argentinian right winger, they've struggled to, hit the heights. Arda Güler, I feel like he needs to feature a lot more for Real Madrid next season. I feel like, Arda in the 10, I feel like that might be the first place to start. Sort of like when they signed Mesut Ozil, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that can really unlock something in this Real Madrid team. And they just need to sort of find a balance. In my opinion, they need a midfielder who can control games. Let Tchouaméni be the destroyer in that midfield, I always see Camavinga as the utility man, so he can come off the bench, he can come into games when needed, but they really need a deep line playmaker, in my opinion. Someone like a Pedri, like a Vitinho, who can dictate the tempo, you know what I'm saying? Or even like Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong does it well for Barca as well. Just someone who can come in and dictate the tempo, because as much as I like Tchouaméni, I see him as more of a destroyer. He has the ability to play, them long passes, but in terms of someone to take that Toni Kroos role, they need that Toni Kroos replacement. It hasn't really been the same since he's left. And yeah, we all know how good he was. So yeah, man, Barcelona, very on top, dunked on Real Madrid once again, won the league, forced Real Madrid to watch their title celebrations. And yeah, they look light years ahead of Real Madrid currently right now. The balance of power in La Liga is looking very much to the side of Barcelona. So yeah, man, Barcelona win the league, go back to back. And yeah, like I've said before, Real Madrid, it's a big summer for them, man. They've got problems. They really need to figure it out. They need to figure out the construction of this squad in order to once again compete with Barcelona.